Well, we're here with the one and only Nintendo fangirl. Thank you so much for being here today. I'm so excited to have you on the podcast.
Thank you for having me. Happy to be here.
I feel like we should have gotten you on way sooner. Why didn't
It's
we?
okay. I've been listening. I've been watching.
Okay.
I wasn't expecting an invite, so I'm just happy to be here.
Yeah, we actually saw each other relatively soon because we met up at PAX East just a few months ago. You were like on the world's biggest travel boomerang. You were at PAX East and you went to Epic Universe to see the opening of Donkey Kong World, right?
That was a hectic weekend for me. I was at PAX East on Thursday. I was at Epic Universe going to see Donkey Kong Country on Friday, and then I was back at PAX East on Saturday.
That's right.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
It was busy.
That's crazy. But you've been living and breathing the Donkey Kongness.
I really have, yeah.
You really, because you went to the opening, which looked amazing, and then recently you were able to go to an event where you got to get a pretty decent, I'm assuming a pretty decent chunk of hands-on time with the game. So yeah, I really wanted to talk. I'm really excited about this game, but I haven't gotten a chance to play it myself, so I want to hear all the things that you thought of it, and I definitely trust your opinion, so I'm sure whatever you thought of it is pretty close to what I would think of it too. So yeah, excited to hear about this.
Oh, I'm excited to talk about it. It was great.
Yeah. So this was one of those Nintendo behind closed doors secret events that gosh, I've planned many of with you guys in the past, but you went to this recently. Just give us a little rundown of what one of those events is like as a a Nintendo ambassador.
Yeah, so some of them are more kind of ambassador event oriented, and some of them are a little more press oriented,
Right.
This one was probably a little more on the press oriented side, but
okay.
So it was basically an opportunity to get hands-on time behind closed doors, like you said, with Donkey Kong Bananza. They do always decorate the room a little fun. We've got big standees of different Donkey Kong Bonanza characters.
Oh, that's so cool. I saw a photo that you took. Yeah.
Yep.
Very cute photo.
The big stand with the logo and Donkey Kong and Pauline.
Yes.
And just enough TV stations and few enough people in there at a time that it is really one-on-one, you and Donkey Kong. And I got to play for, I want to say, about 90 minutes. So I did get a good chunk of the game. Yep.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, they do these events. This kind of acts as the preview coverage, if people know the cycle of stuff for most Nintendo games. And yeah, the preview stuff, the marketing for this game is right on time. They did the big announcement, obviously. They did the big Donkey Kong title direct just about a week and change ago. And then they had you guys out and the press, of course, to play a chunk of the game. Would you say that this was sort of the beginning of the game, or did you have multiple save files? What kind of hands-on were you getting here?
Yeah, we had a few save files. So we did get the beginning of the game. So the whole kind of I think it's the demo experience, but I haven't gone hands-on with the demo either.
Okay.
So
the one they were showing in April, maybe?
No, the one that they have in stores.
Oh,
actually,
in
yes,
stores.
also what they showed in April, though.
Yeah, that's
where it
right,
starts with DK punching through the wall, and then it gets up through learning all of the mechanics and getting your first Banandium gem. And we actually did not play through the big cutscenes where you meet Odd Rock and you go through all that. That was on the Treehouse, so I don't feel bad that we didn't get to play it. But but we didn't do that. We kind of skipped right ahead to that first layer, the lagoon layer, which is also, I believe, what's in the demo. So we did. Yeah. We jumped right ahead to the lagoon layer. One thing that was different that we got to experience was we got to go straight through the part where Odd Rock becomes Pauline, where we find out that Odd Rock was Pauline all along. So in the direct, they show it a lot. They show huge chunks of it, but there's a good amount of lead up to that that isn't shown in the direct that we got to experience. And it was really nice. And then we also got to go, I think it's called the forest layer, but I'm not 100% sure on the naming, but the layer with Ostrich Bonanza Donkey Kong.
Oh, yeah, the transformation. Also. Yeah.
Yep.
Yes, that's really interesting what you were just saying about sort of the progression of Odd Rock becoming Pauline. Obviously, that was one of the big reveals during the direct, and it
Mm-hmm.
was, rumored and leaked a little bit as well before that. But I think the confirmation of it being actually like a teenage Pauline was so exciting. I definitely was like super
Yeah,
super excited about that, and she's so cute.
she's adorable. I love her.
Yeah, yeah. So you were saying like the sort of the progression of the game, though, you do
Mm-hmm.
start with it, being Odd Rock, and then you play with Odd Rock for a portion of the game before Pauline is sort of like revealed
Yep.
to you. Is that right?
Yep. Yep. So the parts with Odd Rock and the parts with Pauline are not drastically different, but there are differences because Pauline does chime in on different things that you do, and she doesn't do that so much when she's trapped in rock form.
Yeah.
There's also a couple like really cute little things, like when you go to take a little nap in your abode to refill your hearts.
Oh, fun.
Pauline will actually prompt cute little conversations with Donkey Kong. I say with Donkey Kong, but it's mostly Pauline talking at Donkey
Yeah, Donkey
Kong.
Kong goes, oh, and she's
Yeah,
like, blah, blah,
but
blah.
it's adorable. You get nice little flavor text in those moments. You get to learn little bits about Pauline and her personality,
Oh, I
and
love that.
she's great.
Yeah, that's like the best part about some of these newer Nintendo games, I think, where you just get a little bit more of sort of a backstory around some of these characters
Hmm.
that I mean, we've known of Pauline for like probably our whole lives, I feel
Yeah.
like. And we've seen her obviously in many different forms, and maybe we saw the most of her personality than we've ever have in Odyssey, but getting a chance to see her as a younger, her younger self, and hearing that there is a lot of personality around that character. She's just not sort of the silent sidekick, she's really like,
Hmm.
part of the main story, part of the main character for the story. That's really cool. So I'm excited that you were feeling that way about the game.
Yep.
um, so there were so many things that they showed in that Nintendo Direct, a lot of different kinds of gameplay mechanics and things like
Yeah.
that. What was it that you were able to experience during the hands-on? Did you try out like a lot of Donkey Kong's moves, and like
Hmm.
what do the game mechanics feel like?
Well, a lot of Donkey Kong's moves are you just have access to them right off the bat,
Okay.
and there's a lot. Like there's just a lot you can do with Donkey Kong. Every like up, B down, B, punch up, punch down, punch sideways, punch, rock jump, throw rock, spin rock, swing rock. Like it's there's so many things that you can do that I can say confidently that by the end of playing for 90 minutes, I still feel like I could have gotten a better handle on the controls,
Okay.
um, which isn't really a bad thing. In some ways, it's like, well, does that mean they're not intuitive enough? I don't think that's the case. It's just that I found myself punching a lot more instead of like doing some of the cool stuff or
Hmm.
sliding around on a rock or things like that. I think it's amazing how many things you can do actually, and I just go back to thinking about the tricks that people do in like Mario Odyssey, which
With
I also
Cappy?
never, yeah, which I also
Yes.
barely ever did because I couldn't get a handle on them. But imagine that like tenfold with Donkey Kong
Wow.
Bonanza. That's what it feels like because there's so many different things that you can do and so many ways to get around and so many ways to get through
Mhm.
enemies or little puzzle elements and things like that. And it feels good. It feels smooth. It feels pretty like intuitive across the
Mhm.
board. So all around good on controls.
Yeah. That was the sense that I got when I saw the layers and layers of controls
Hmm.
with Donkey Kong that we saw in the direct. It was like, and then you can do this, and then and it just kept going.
Yep.
The list
Yep.
just was like, I was like, oh man, how long is this checklist of things that you can do with DK? And it seems like just very in depth. And yeah, I was wondering the same thing maybe as you were experiencing, is like how intuitive is it for you to get a handle on all of these controls? It does sound like maybe there's some that you're using more than others
Hmm.
to to traverse the world, and I'm totally sure, and I'm sure you're like this way too. It's like, yeah, once people get their hands on the game, someone's gonna find some crazy combo that they can do to get to a place that no one ever could thought that they could get to. There's going to be some, Breath of the Wild level exploration happening with someone's clever way of chaining together all the different moves, which is fun and exciting to think about, because I get that there's a lot of sense of discovery. But I'm with you though. I'm like, sometimes I know I'm not good enough to actually do all of those things, but I like to watch other people do it.
Yeah,
Like a
me
lot of times
too.
I'm like,
Yep.
that good for you. That looks hard.
Yep. Yeah, but it's like there's just something like so cathartic about just break the terrain all over.
Yeah,
Everything that you can break, you can break. Like
really.
it's fun. Yeah,
Yeah. So basically the whole world is destructible. Does it, like, what if
yeah.
you make a mistake? Like what if you're like, "Oh shoot, I shouldn't have broken that. I need that to jump somewhere or do something."
I
Does it
think
like
there's I think there's just enough like fail safes involved in
Okay.
terms of like undestructible world that you'd be able
Mm,
to return or climb out of wherever you need to climb out
okay.
of.
Yeah.
There's also the teleport system, which you can trigger from anywhere. So if you
Okay.
actually get stuck somewhere, you can just call
Yeah.
your little eel buddy to come
To
bring
come
you back
get
to
you
a
out.
checkpoint. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Oh, interesting. Yeah, if you like dig your way into some sort of
yeah.
like game breaking or whatever. But you didn't experience that. You were
No,
able
I didn't experience anything
to
like that.
have progression as well as kind of feel like you're, just destroying the world around you.
Yeah, yep.
Yeah. I'm sure there were tons of like fun surprises and
Hmm.
discoveries as you played through
Hmm.
that hands-on experience. Were there any that really stood out to you?
I have one specific one, um, and I have a feeling this is going to be in a lot of people's preview footage, but well, I guess we'll see how many people got to it.
Nice.
There was so you know that the world has these challenges that you can kind of open up with Pauline singing. So Pauline
Okay.
does her little and it opens it up, and you get to enter a challenge, and a bunch of them are really cool. But there was one. That specifically was a 2D side scrolling, very classic Donkey Kong country styled gameplay.
Oh,
And they
so
were
cool.
playing Sticker Bush Symphony from Donkey Kong Country 2, I believe,
Oh
which
my
is just like
goodness.
an amazing classic song. It just felt like, oh, like this is Donkey Kong for everybody, because 2D Donkey Kong fans obviously love the Donkey Kong Country games, because who doesn't?
Yeah,
But
of course.
it just was so classic Donkey Kong on top of classic 3D Donkey Kong. Like it just is layered, all of the goodness all together. So
Yeah.
that was my like favorite moment, I think.
Yeah, they showed a bunch of those little challenges and they all looked a
Hmm.
little different, but I do remember seeing one that was very much classic Donkey Kong. I wondered what kind of feeling you would get playing that, if they could capture that like nostalgic, very classic feeling of the Donkey Kong Country games. It's kind of nice that they did a little homage to that through these challenges, and glad to hear that the music was there as well, because that's
Hmm.
such a big part of what made the Donkey Kong Country games so amazing. Is like I can still hear the music in my head even years later. Like I sometimes like randomly still hum the songs in my head and stuff like that. So it is like a very
Yeah.
like sticky kind of thing that I'm sure a lot of people will have a lot of memories of. So that's really cool that they put that in the game.
Yeah.
Did Donkey Kong, like, what are I guess back to the controls a little bit, because we were
Hmm.
talking about, the world being so destructible, and we were talking about, what's really cool about 3D Donkey Kong games, or just Donkey Kong games in general, is that Donkey Kong feels like such a different character than, say, a Mario. Mario is
Hmm.
so acrobatic, and Mario is very like, floaty and jumpy, and Donkey Kong's the opposite. He's so powerful, and there's like this weightiness to Donkey Kong, and obviously that plays out with the world being destructible. But how did you what was the feeling of controlling the DK character, and like, did it give you that sense of, oh yeah, this is a totally different character than, say, controlling a Mario in a 3D Mario game?
Yeah, yeah. I think you kind of nailed it when you said it feels more weighty. He feels more weighty.
Yeah.
And in fact, one of my first questions was, "Is there fall damage?" And and they were like, "No, he's Donkey
Okay.
Kong."
He's
um, yeah,
fine.
and so falling from any height, but depending on what material you land on, Donkey Kong really does like slam and create a crater into the
Okay,
ground. So
wow.
it feels good. Like the physics feel good all around, and he does feel strong. And I will say also, um, the different materials like are so notably different in how they interact with each other. So
Mm-hmm.
when you pick up a rock and you throw it at something, you know that it's going to react in a certain way, as opposed to when you pick up what they call them, boom rock, or the dynamite sparking rock. You know that
Right.
that's going to create an explosion when you throw it. Or if you pick up a chunk of soft sand and you throw that, you know it's
Mm-hmm.
going to be like a little squish when
Yeah.
it hits something. So it's not only that like the Donkey Kong physics are good, they are, but it's the whole world physics are
Mm-hmm.
really strong. Yeah.
Wow, that's really good to hear because there's so many options of what you can
Yeah.
do with Donkey Kong and like what he's doing in the world that require that kind of, I don't know, it's like a vibe where like you just have to get the feeling right. It's just even hard to describe, but when you pick up those controls, you really want to feel like, yeah, I'm controlling this like big powerful character that's going to be, he has an effect on like the world around him.
Yeah.
So that's great that you felt like the physics were really good throughout.
Yeah.
What was like the Pauline, is there any controls with Pauline, or is it just she's kind of passively sitting on his shoulders or singing? Like what was the kind of playability of Pauline?
Yeah. At least as far as I got, um, her only playability is singing to unlock the little void covered bits. However, different for the 2-player co-op. So we actually
Right.
did play that a little bit.
Oh, cool. How did you
Um,
like that?
I liked it. So I played as Pauline. So I was the one with the mouse control Joy-Cons as
Oh
Pauline.
yeah.
It
Okay.
was it was good. It was very effective. Like you could really feel like you were controlling the cursor correctly with mouse controls. I will say that it does kind of put the game into easy mode because you can really spam throwing stuff with Pauline, like throwing rocks specifically, and that does a lot of damage to a lot of stuff. So we did like the boss fight while I was playing as Pauline in the 2-player co-op, and we literally did beat the boss in like 15 seconds.
Oh my goodness.
So
Okay.
it's worth a note. I mean, I think it'd be great for kids.
Right.
I also think you don't have to play it the way that I was playing it, where I was just spamming rocks with Pauline.
But why
I
would
was
you
literally
not
just
though?
pressing this. Well, that's the thing is when you
Yeah.
watch like the preview footage and when you watch the direct, anytime that they show it, Pauline is like, yeah, yeah, yeah. But you can just, yeah, 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 yeah.
You can just
Like,
be like
you can just nonstop throw things. And it's strong because it's the same as Donkey Kong throwing a rock, except it's Pauline throwing 5 in a second. So it's
Oh, okay. It's like
crazy. Yeah.
volume versus power.
Yes. There is like still that kind of puzzle element though, because Pauline can copy materials. So she can copy
Oh.
like an explosive rock and then throw the explosive rock for a limited amount of times. I think it's like 5 or 6.
Oh, that's so
Um,
cool.
yeah. So if there's like a puzzle element, if there's concrete you can't break as easily with
Okay.
certain materials, so you would see concrete or you would see metal or something and say, oh, I need to copy some other concrete or I need to copy a boom rock or
Hmm.
something like that in order to throw it. So there is that still. And I will say
Right.
also that I was playing on one of those early layers with Pauline, so it's
Right.
very possible it's not as broken in the later layers, but
Right.
it
Yeah.
felt that early on.
Early on, I'm sure you're like, "Oh, I'm so powerful. Like
Yeah.
I can just bust through these bosses, especially
Mm-hmm.
if you're doing the co-op, the two-player mode." It is cool that they gave that it's not like a true co-op, where like everyone is controlling their own Donkey Kong, obviously. But it is nice that they gave Pauline some balance of like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
she can still attack a little bit and do things, obviously different than what you're doing with the main character that's Donkey Kong. But sometimes I feel like Nintendo does that thing where it's a little bit of a cop out, where it's like you just gather the galaxy
The
crystals.
galaxy. That's like the standard of theirs.
I
Pick up the
know.
galaxy crystals. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, well, maybe we can do a little bit more than that. Just,
Yeah.
just a touch more than gathering the galaxy
Yeah.
crystals.
It's still fun. I just
Yeah.
think it won't feel like if you really want to have a 2-player co-op experience.
Yeah.
It still does kind of feel like a one-player game with a
With like a
secondary
little
person.
assistant.
Yeah.
Yeah, like an assist. Cappy too. That when you were able to control Cappy in Odyssey, I feel like that was always the role of like the assist player. Like, Nintendo's definitely thinking like somebody's kid would want to play.
Yeah.
That secondary character.
It might be fun with the game chat. I was thinking, I wonder if you could invent like a sabotage version of the game where Pauline's job is to not help Donkey Kong. I bet you could do something with that. I don't know.
Oh my gosh, that sounds like a video that we need to make after the game comes out.
Okay, yeah.
I won't game chat you, and I'll sabotage you. You can
Donkey Kong. Prevent Donkey Kong from succeeding. Yeah,
yeah,
okay.
I love it. We can just make our own stuff. Yeah, I love it. Any concerns from any of the stuff that you played, whether you were like, I don't like this, or I wish this was better? Any sort of like, ooh, I'm not sure about this area? Anything like that pop up while you were playing?
Honestly, no. I was really happy with pretty much everything. One concern I had going into it was kind of a similar concern that I had with Odyssey, which is that I really was hoping none of the worlds would feel too open, too kind of like barren in areas.
Like empty.
And also, on the same note, except slightly different for Donkey Kong, I'm hoping that there's not big chunks of like land where I feel compelled to destroy them just to find that there's nothing there.
Yeah.
So
you don't want to dig
similar.
for like 20 minutes and then be like, oh, yeah, I wasn't supposed to do that.
I didn't experience that, but also like it's possible that exists in the other layers that I didn't go to. From what I could tell, they really like jam packed the ground with like little pockets of cool treasure chests, and those fossils are really fun to find and rewarding to find. That's what you use to get different clothing and fur colors for Donkey Kong and Pauline. So the collectibles I was really happy with. I don't have any major complaints at all, or even minor complaints at all right now. It was really good all around.
Yeah, that's awesome to hear, because I was wondering the same thing when you think about like an exploration based, maybe a more open world exploration based Donkey Kong game. It's like any other game like this. It's like you need to incentivize the player to feel that they want to explore, versus it being like, well, you built this big world, but I kind of don't feel, I'm not interested in like really playing in it. So glad to hear that you didn't get that sense. So basically how it's not truly like open, obviously, because it's in like these layered and like it's almost like each level is a layer, and then I'm getting the sense that you kind of explore that layer, do the things that you need to do there, fight a boss, and then it unlocks the next layer below. Is that kind of how it works?
So my understanding, we did kind of jump around a little, which makes it a little harder to track, but my understanding is actually, so there's layers and there's sub layers. So the layers do kind of act, my brain keeps going back actually to Luigi's Mansion 3. So they kind of act like somehow you go down a layer and you're in an entirely different world. Like you've got entirely new atmosphere, new types of NPCs, new moves, new boss battles, stuff like that. But there are definitely, again, from my understanding, there are sub layers. So, for example, we were in the lagoon layer, the one with all of the water, which was it's the one that they showed in the treehouse. And it's also the one that I believe you can experience if you go to play the demo at a retail store. So the lagoon layer, and I don't know if you can do this in the retail demo. I think you might not be able to. But early on, you unlock what is called a void stake, which is basically a plug in the ground. And I believe there's a bunch of them. So you unlock a void stake, you break the void stake, or you unlock it, and it comes out of the ground, and there's a big hole down there. Okay. So you jump in, and then that brings you to another sub layer, which is the same kind of styling as the previous one, but there's more down there. So that's how they kind of make these worlds big, is that each layer seems to have these sub layers.
Right. And you're kind of discovering those as you like explore around that
And you can go
particular
up and
layer.
down between the sub layers, I believe, and you can teleport between them too. So
Okay.
yeah,
Did the world
and
feel big?
oh,
Like
it did.
it felt vast, like there's a lot
Yeah.
to
Well,
explore.
it's a little bit like big in the sense that it's super dense.
Okay.
So it is big. Like I didn't go to the edge of the I guess floating island on any of the
Hmm.
levels that I went to. But also there's so much just like packed in each little section of each world. So
Yeah.
there's all of those little challenges, there's NPCs, there's shops, there's stuff in the ground, there's stuff in the sky, there's
Yeah.
stuff that'll shoot you across the map. There's a lot in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How did you find the game's like difficulty? Sometimes 2D Donkey Kong games can be quite challenging. Did you
Yeah.
find this one to be okay, or was it, unless you're spamming Pauline's rocks,
Yeah.
but did you
Yeah.
generally feel like it was pretty balanced in terms
You
of
know,
difficulty?
it's funny. I'm like notoriously bad at 2D games in
Me
general,
too.
including
Yeah,
Donkey Kong games,
me too.
particularly. And I because I was just reviewing the footage, I know for a fact I died 4 times when I was trying to do the 2D challenge. The one that I
Okay.
was mentioning was Sticker Bush Symphony. So that part's it feels like a 2D Donkey Kong game. It's very much the same.
It's hard. Yeah.
It you can buy or find, I guess, balloons, so those will save you if you fall into a hole. They won't save you if you die from damage, but there's
Okay.
that. So there's one little helper there. I would say I was thinking that it was actually pretty easy in the first half of what I played in
Hmm.
the like beginning portion and even the lagoon layer, although I did get down to like half a heart multiple times. So I
Okay.
don't really know why I'm saying that it was easy because who knows? I was on the brink of death a bunch of times,
But you
but
didn't die. You were
I
like
didn't.
you were
It's
getting
true.
through it,
It's
and it
true.
felt like it wasn't like brutally like, oh my gosh, I can't get past
Yeah.
this part, or
And I think the game is a little bit generous, at least in that early area, where if
yeah.
you decide, ooh, that's my cat, sorry.
Oh, cute little tail.
The game, if you decide that you need health, you just kind of go to town on the ground and you'll probably find an apple at some point and there you
Okay.
go, there's your health. Or you go back to the town and you take a nap in your little house and
Yeah.
that
And
refills
you
your
can
health.
like teleport, like you can fast travel
Yeah.
pretty easily between, it sounds like, the
Hmm.
town and the world, like wherever you are in
Yeah.
the world. So
Yeah.
it would be okay.
I will say though, when we got to the one of the later layers, the more lush foresty one, you're surrounded by poison water.
Oh.
There's like pricker things everywhere that deal a
Oh.
lot of damage, and the enemies are a lot faster and
Okay.
more difficult to take
Yeah.
down. So
So
it definitely, I wouldn't say it's like, oh my goodness, I can't handle this difficulty spike, but there's definitely a challenge to it
yeah, yeah.
for sure.
I would expect that, I think, from a Donkey Kong game. They're not
Yeah.
super handholdy with how the
Yeah.
game goes.
And I didn't try the casual mode. I don't think that's what it was named, but there's that casual
That's
mode.
true. There is a different mode, isn't there?
So
Yeah.
if you're having trouble, I guess you
Yeah.
could do that. I think it halves your damage. So
Yeah, that's right.
cool.
That's right. There was like they showed that in the direct, yeah, and it
Mhm.
gives you a bit more hearts and things like that. You talked a little bit about the sort of the different. I don't know if they're calling it transformations, but it's kind of like a transformation, I suppose, where Donkey Kong can transform into like other animals.
I
Is
think
that
they're
what
called Bonanzas.
they're called? Oh, that's the Bonanza part of the Donkey
Yeah,
Kong Bonanza.
I
All
suppose so, because it's so when you so I did get to try, but I actually got to do the whole lead up into unlocking the Kong Bonanza, which is
Okay.
the first one.
Yeah.
And it was amazing. It was like so much
Really?
fun. Yeah. So you go through all, this little tiny challenge where you have to bring a like vinyl disc to the big Kong elder because he's like an aspiring DJ.
Oh
So
my gosh, how cute. There's like
yeah,
a
so you gotta bring
musical.
him his
That's
vinyl.
the big elder with like the banana beard.
Yeah, and
Okay,
I
yeah.
never noticed this until I played it, although now it looks so obvious. He's got like big headphones on.
Oh, I
And
gotta go
like
back
when
and
he's
look.
in the background of the cutscenes that they've already shown, even he's like doing this with
He's
his
like jamming
headphones.
out.
I
Oh,
was like,
I
oh
love
cool.
it. He's like
Yeah.
he's going to Coachella next after this. Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
But like the big thing is that's where Odd Rock is shown to be Pauline in that
Right.
cutscene, and Pauline is too nervous to sing, so Donkey Kong has to kind of egg her on, and it's the cutest. They have the cutest relationship
I love it.
ever. I wasn't expecting it, but it's just like Donkey Kong pounding on his chest to pump up Pauline and give her like the courage to sing.
Oh,
It warms
it's
my
so
heart.
sweet.
It
It's
was
so
so
sweet.
adorable. Yeah.
There is
Oh, it's so nice.
such a sense of that even in the direct when they
Hmm.
were showing the two of them together. It's like I love this friendship. I love this like he almost has like a true like big brother energy
Yeah, that's what it
towards
feels like.
her, and
Yeah.
I just, oh my gosh, I think it's so heartwarming and sweet. And yeah, I honestly got like a little tiny bit emotional like watching the scenes with Pauline and Donkey Kong and Pauline scenes. I'm like, this is so cute. And then we never
Yeah.
get to see this kind of stuff with Nintendo characters. So it's
Yeah.
actually, that's awesome that that lead up felt like there was a lot of payoff. So then
Yeah.
once you do that, then you unlock like the Bonanza, whatever
Yeah, and
it's
it's
called.
the way they do it is really smooth. It feels good. So you pump up Pauline, Pauline toes DK, and then Donkey Kong gets to get his Kong Bonanza, and he goes rawr.
Oh,
They showed
cute.
this in the direct. He goes rawr, and then it actually launches directly into kind of the spot where DK gets to try out his Kong Bonanza, like
Okay.
a little mini tutorial on like, oh, now you can super punch through concrete and stuff like that.
Mm.
But what's really fun is that it goes from the cutscene of Pauline singing into that tutorial, and the song continues through that. So
Oh,
you get
that's
to
so
kind of
great.
listen to that while you're punching through concrete
Yeah.
and just get all pumped up. It's really cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the music is good.
Hmm.
Whatever songs they wrote for Pauline, the at least what I heard in the direct, I thought they were all like so catchy. It was so
Yeah.
like, I don't know, it felt like Disney Channel in the night in like the early 2000s
Yeah.
or something, which is such a vibe. But it sounds like the music continues to be really good and all the songs are really
Yeah.
cute. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's great. So now that you've played for 90 minutes and you've gotten a lot of time with the game, I have to ask you the most important question of all, which is,
Okay.
who do you think is making this game?
Well, certainly a chunk of the Odyssey team.
Yeah.
I would be floored if that wasn't the case. It feels and looks so much like Odyssey.
Yeah.
Then again, it could have just been built off Odyssey's back.
True. Could be the Odyssey engine, and they have. Yeah, I know. I'm so curious because Nintendo, of course, doesn't want to tell us. They're being
Yeah.
cagey about who is making this game,
Keep
and
the
I'm
talent
very
secret.
I know. I'm very curious about yeah, what this could be. And obviously the game sounds incredible. I'm sure you came away with it feeling even more excited to play because it sounds like you had a great time and
Yeah.
it was awesome.
Yeah, I did.
So obviously it's not the quality of the game that we're calling into question at all. It's just like, what does it mean for other games that
Yeah.
this team could be
Yeah.
making? Or maybe they're making both, or maybe they just grew the team in the years that, between now Odyssey and now, who knows? But
Yeah.
so you definitely feel that it's quite Odyssey coded as you play through
I
this
think so,
part of the
yeah.
game. Okay.
That's my take.
Interesting. Well, this was fascinating. So you will have, by the time this video is out, you will have actual footage of you playing the game. So I will link all of your stuff in the description. So everyone go and watch the actual like gameplay part of it. But this was so much fun. It was so fun to chat with you about Donkey Kong Bonanza. I'm so you pumped me up. You gassed me up on this game. I'm like, I gotta go find a demo.
I think
somewhere.
Truly, I think this is going to be, well, not that there's a ton of competition right now, but I think this is going to be a lot of people's favorite Switch 2 exclusive game.
Yeah,
Off the
for
bat
sure.
immediately. And I think it might be a lot of people's favorite Donkey Kong games.
Yeah.
I'm not even exaggerating. I'm
Yeah.
pretty hype over it. Yeah.
It definitely seems to be trending that way for sure. Like it was such a that direct was just such a
Yeah.
like an amazing like showcase for the game. And then of course hearing that, people that have played it just really love it and it just feels as good as it looks just bodes so well for this game. And it's so exciting that it's coming out really soon. We don't really have to wait very much longer. So
Yep. Yeah. Oh
yeah.
yeah. Yeah, like 2
Yeah.
weeks left, right?
Exactly. So it's like, oh,
Very
cool.
exciting.
We can
Yeah.
just jump right over to it in a short amount of time, which is great.
Can't wait.
Yeah. Well, thank you again for being here. It was always great to
Thanks
have you.
for
We'll
having
definitely
me.
have to have you on more often.
I'm always around.
Awesome. Thank you.